Another day, another day. Right, Windows, docs. Wait, you said Friday, it's Thursday. Hey, extra stream, what do you know? Maybe I stay here for a short while. Maybe I persist as long as I usually have. Who knows? But yes. Hi, Blue. Having fun with your friends. Ah, yeah, so you're live a day early. Forgive me for running late. I do want to be there, says Vesper. Of course. More than welcome to join me. Hello, Alex. Dranks? You're streaming on a Thursday? Yes, yes, I am. I kind of missed stream yesterday because of circumstances. So, here I am. So, take today as a like unofficial stream sort of thing. I'm doing okay. Or like I'm bored. I want to listen to music. I want to keep you guys company. So here I am, as always. Seventh Ward Dragon has just subscribed for 1 month. Looks like we'll be having you here for 30 days. Yeah, I'm in a classroom. Pardon the choice of non-standard music. I kind of want to just go to the songs I like on my Spotify. Foxy the skeleton. A skeleton that's foxy. Interesting. Hold on. Let me go check my Discord. Could have sworn I got the DM. It was Vesper misreading my message, huh? Let's, let's listen to my usual jazz. There. The sound on the camera, if it should be here, should be there. I think the SSAO was a bit aggressive. Fix that. Quality ranges. It's not as bad anymore. 30%. $25. That good. How are you doing today? Wow, that's loud. I'm doing okay. I was I was 50-50. I was taking a snooze, a nap, sometime around 9 p.m. And then I said, I'm gonna wake up after 1 hour. That kind of overshot into 3 hours. And you know what? I'm gonna go live. Why not? What's this? I have to write a license test at my local airport for my job, says Canadian Alex. I have 1 hour to kill. Study or nap? Bad life advice. It's simple. Nap. Why? Because once you cut off the flow of information to your head, whatever that you last focused on is what will be retained. So that is the answer, obviously. That's kind of not bad life advice, but you get what I mean. Study! I'm studying now, says the academic Crystal Tide, writing a paper for my ethnic studies class. Nah. Ethnic studies. A feeling I need to adjust the camera a tiny bit further out. There. Leather tracks. Zach, it's been a while. How are ya? Oh my goodness, why is my thing not open? There we go. Hello, Bruce. Be a bit lower. I did some editing with my normal maps. It should be better on my face. A subtle yet important change. Let's see. Zoom in. Lighting. Okay. Good. Smooth, yeah. Yes. Hi, Gab. I literally left the house 10 minutes ago. I didn't know you'd stream today. I didn't know I would stream today either, Pierre. So it's not your fault. Good luck with whatever thing you need to do outside, Pierre. I hope it's driving, so you could sharpen your skill on your newly acquired license. Unless I'm mistaken. And it was just driving classes. My Quest 2 is broken, says Bruce. I'll be getting a new headset soon. What do you have planned? Gosh. I wonder how the ever so tough MetaQuest 2 could fail. Rigorous activity, perchance. Trust me, I'll be back later, says Pierre. I'm going to see a friend today. Socializing. Reinvigorating the social battery with one's chosen energy. Best of luck and have fun. There are rumors about the new Valve headset. I have heard. It's called the Valve Steam Frame, was it? Oh dear, so this world does have a funny, laggy metastic thing going on. Chat, we are going to hop somewhere else before I get devoured by my super low FPS. We are probably gonna go to... Oh, anywhere but here. Hold on, chat. I've noticed that in this world. Ugh. Pardon, give me a minute. Oh. And blue. VR chat crashed. Note to self, don't stream in that world. We're going to crash in less than 30 minutes. Sad. Now let's wait until my VR chat recovers. At least it's still the start of the stream, so it's not bad. Well, at least I think it's not bad. Diskity disk disk. Exit game. Alright. So while things are still fixing itself, I present to you my totally not updated BRET back screen. There's black pixel hell every 3 minutes with that world. Ah, I see. There we go. Come on. We have another round. And here I was with everything set up. Gosh, oh goshity gosh. Give me like 3 minutes tops, chat. I'll be back soonest. First, we calibrate the full body. Go here, step in, align, put your trackers and controllers in place, and lock in. Second, we go to our world of choice. We are going to bar side rail. Wonder if it's any good here. This is a world I'm sure I don't crash in. Hold on, chat. I know. I'll be back soon, okay? Also, Crystal, thank you so much for, well, the gift sub, of course. Huh. Now, where's that old spot of mine? Unless I'm gonna go sit at the couch this time. Tools, camera, alright. Camera mode, stream. Behavior, flying. Yep, there we go. Focus, semi-auto. Zoom in. I think that's good. Local. Go here. Vesper would want to join you, of course. Chat, we're about to return. In a 3, 2, 1. Hi. I'm back. Had to change venue because of, well, what just happened. Maybe I turn here and then we make the camera face there instead. Here. Same angle as earlier, so we don't fiddle with the lighting as much. Here. Turn. Your chance it's the purple glow. No, it's gotta be blue. I remember now. I used to sit here. Stool. Geb, will you ever use the old avatars? I don't have any good reason to. Why should I, Ivan? Why? I miss the old look already. Because of a world change, we have to update our lighting. Right, sure. this. And then let's make it nice and blue. Should it be in the back? I like the contrast. Here. I think this is better. Ah, and so there's Vesper. Come on. Okay, let's check chat. I may have missed some messages. We have Zizzo, we have Red, we have Doran, who is obviously having fun and some hill diving. Waffle car. I feel like I need to put my neck collar down. So much preparations. Better. It's nice to see the old ones because of the charm, says Vesper. But I very much prefer the current Geb the most. Same here. I already had a change in appearance and, well, I think let's stick with the updated look. Of course. Ah, well, here I am closing the overlay.
Oops.
Fumbling. Focus, semi-auto. Vesper cam. Zoom. There you go. Fantastic, isn't it? Your ever so favorite mod. Now, let me go reopen my overlay because I accidentally closed it. I can. Speaking of old avatars, I recently revisited how my old Nova Beast was built. I was looking at it in Blender in Unity. I still think the Nova Beast has the best proportions by default on any avatar. Now, what I mean is best proportions for full body. Your arms just stretch right and whatnot. But there are also a few nitpicks of mine that I have with regards to the design. Mostly in particular the skull. For those of you that took off the Nova Beast main, you should know what I mean. A watermelon head is saying things nicely. So that's what all that hair was for.
Yeah,
A spontaneous
'cause the
Thursdays.
back of,
Yeah, the back. No, it's okay.
the
Go
back
ahead.
of
Sorry.
that just looks.
Yes,
I
that
mean,
has
yeah,
been corrected with the
there's-
Luna Beast. Look at
Yeah. Mhm.
now. If I could pull up images, that would be great. Unfortunately, I can't do that just yet in the stream. How's this work?
Still pretty early on in stream.
So body POV. This, there, like this. Sorry, I'm setting up the third camera chat. Yeah, there's Vesper, there's me. I finally found your Twitch as Zero. Welcome to the less boring version of the clips that I post on social media. Waffle says yes, a Nova without the hair is a funny one. That's what I used to rock. I can momentarily show you if you wish. I think it's this one. Here. World lighting might change. Whoa. Check out my physique, chat. That's what I meant by me checking out my... Well... checking out my everything. Oh. My Vice seems wrong.
Oops.
There you go. Oh, no. Still.
And
There
yet
you
still
go.
loading into
Fine.
my end. Ah.
I appear different personality-wise, but I will never
it your
forget my
Nova
humble
without the
beginnings. Yes, it's this Nova. I never had a main on the Nova.
Yeah. I mean, you did show me a screenshot with it, like, enabled, but...
Oh,
yeah, you
that
look like
one.
a
That's old.
werewolf.
Yeah. This is cute, but it doesn't fit the aesthetic anymore. Okay, so oh. It almost looks like a kid cap. Funny, a joke that has been running through the comments of my videos as I progressed to my Abbeys was I got older with each iteration. My Volper Hyanid Kit Bash was like the in between, the young adult, and this is like the adult. Was the old avatar always so glowy? No, it's just my lighting wasn't set properly for this world. With my super not so chipper playlist. There we go. What's this? Doran says, I've been kinda wanting to get a new avatar and I'm debating on the Nova Beast. The Volper will always be my main, but I want to get something new to use occasionally. I am not the best person to ask with regards to that, Doran, because I'm the type to stick to just one avatar forever. Even Vesper switches around more than I do. She's been having fun with what was that? The Nova Yin?
Yeah, I've just been talking around with it in VR chat.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's about it.
But unlike other people, we don't generally swap around avatars. I find it hold on. I find it strange because each time I see my friends in a different what's this? In a different form. Also, wow, I didn't know I was in the stool. Each time I see my friends in a different form, I would generally feel estranged. Like, you have the same voice and personality, but who are you again? It's like, right, so I was acquaintances with your previous avatar, and I'm friends with your current one, and I have never met this third one. That's how my mind works when it comes to people swapping around Avies. Unless you explicitly say, this is my actual new look, and I'm sticking with it, then, like, data trend, I get used to it. I don't know, it's just me, chat. If you enjoy swapping your avatars around, having a face A, B, and C for every day of the week, then good for you. Me, Monday to Sunday, 7-Eleven, 24/7. It's always just gonna be this. Buy the Tiger Bee, totally not a biased opinion. I would probably get it just for memes and see how I look. But it's there. It's in the pipeline. Oops. What the?
Oops. Yeah, you're also flipping into the stool again.
Damn. Oh well, ignore the stool. That's why I cropped the camera. That's why I cropped the camera conveniently. What's this? I switch between the Hydra Gia and the Celeste, but I have many Avies when I used to take commissions. Zach says I've been meaning to get an Avi made of my actual Sona instead of renting. Renting, I love the term. The regs. So public usage of readily made available Avies are called renting. That's a good
I
ring term.
guess.
Right? You're kind of renting the look. One could imagine a feral walking by in the background. Yes, hi there, Nordex. Fancy seeing you here on stream. You're good. You're good, Zach. You're good. Rental is it's a good term. What's with that voice? I don't know what. What voice? That's just me, my usual self. Fluffy says, I love my avatar, but I'm kinda sad there's little to no stuff for it to buy, and I suck at making my own stuff. The only two custom-made things I have on my avatar would be my brooch and my tie. The brooch is thanks to a collaboration with Axiom Atom, and the tie is the first thing I've ever modeled in 3D, so it has sort of a sentimental value, and it's something you can never remove from my person, regardless of what form I take. But, you know, Fluffy, you can always Google this thing called robust weight transfer. And then you can fit clothing of other Avies for your Durgara. The Durgara. It's sort of like choosing a what is that brand of motorcycle? That's kind of obscure. The Motorini or something like that. Like you're never gonna find parts like a Kawasaki or a Honda would, which is what mine is technically not that dude. There's nothing for the Hydra. I just make things fit for the Hydra, and unfortunately the stuff I do put on the Hydra is not for sale. So far I have 3 outfits. Takes a little bit of work, but I'm sure you can do it too. Just gotta toil and blender. Speaking of weight painting, I was toiling through weight painting for a good couple of hours because it was really hard making sure the pants move separately from the belt whenever you do that. And let's see. Okay, my arm should be better. Oh my goodness, significantly improved. There's not much. The crinkle here by the chest and the bicep is proper now, as you can see. Before it used to be really bad, like this, they clipped into the chest. And anyway, small details. And also around the elbow, it's good. And the hardest thing to really weight paint for me is if you have anything that has rolled up sleeves, and it's exactly by the elbow. That is what I was working on. I get to that later. I just decided to take a break. Ugh.
Yeah, you spent God knows how many hours white painting yesterday, and then you finally caught a break, and we spent like 8 hours playing.
Sir Wopass?
Game?
Yeah, we were playing.
Yes.
It was so much fun. Really funny game.
Especially some of the skins. I picked this Halloweeny one because the face was so stupid.
I should have taken screenshots. It's dumb. It's like a custom Fortnite map, but yeah. I'm still in the outfit.
It's
Wait.
made to be dumb, but it's
It's
perfect.
made to be dumb, but like it's on purpose. Oh my goodness. Chat, I can't promise a full-length stream today. This is more of like an impromptu thing. Yeah. Hmm. I look with a different angle. Oh, now you can tell Vespers to my.
Yes, I am one chair away from him.
Yes, we have like a stool gap. What's this? Are we going to be doing the workout on Sunday again? Or was it Saturday? I don't remember. I will go tag you guys over at the Discord. It's definitely going to be this weekend though. I'm trying to target Sunday mornings, my end. I'm not sure what time Sunday is, my morning for you guys. It's probably Saturday evening or lunchtime. Thank you for streaming, though, Game, and thank you for being here, Nord. Just dropping by and saying hello before you go about your Nordy business is more than enough to make me happy. Evening night for me, says Crystal, who was pulled a muscle last weekend. But that works pretty well for my schedule. I better not be moving and disassembling any bed frames prior to exercising this time. Or you let Flake do the heavy lifting. Sounds good. That's what he's for. Kelsa, the purple cat queen, says, "Oh, hi. First Geba stream for me. Hi there. Welcome." That's strange. It's when I'm facing this way, I'm not looking at shit. You can always just play around and pan. Till I get the angle right. I still don't understand the password. Maybe the server is not meant for you, Zero. There's hundreds of people that understood the password, though. Just to note. Archipelago says, "It's my first time pulling up the stream, but Loki, this is so calming to listen to during studio work." Studio work? Shouldn't I be absent from your... whatever you're doing, because I'm distracting? I could muck up the audio or stuff. Gosh. Studio work. I've always been fond of studios. Recording ones in particular. You see, the advertising agency that was out a couple of years back was essentially a repurposed band recording place. It had fantastically acoustic treated walls. And working there with your computer is just so... how should I say this? Calming. You feel disconnected from the outside world. You get to focus better. Conversations carry on like silk sliding over your fingers between you and your coworkers. The rhythmic presses on, well, the keyboard, dated obviously. The company won't sponsor us with good ones. So it was the yellowing keycaps. Was like a metronome keeping us going until we had to clock out. Rest, prepare for the next day again. Hello. trickster. He is the embodiment of calmness. Please. I'm no enlightened monk. I'm just a guy. Just like everybody else here. Arnie? Yeah, please don't mess with the drive-thru. Did I, perchance, have lingering magic in the channel? Ah, no, it's perfect. Maybe look at my Discord.
Almost flew, almost doing things we used to do. There's a girl here and
It took me
she's
forever to comment Zoxy on Zera's plight towards guessing the password on my Discord. Funny, some people got it within the first 5 seconds. Their first glossing over the rules. I find it perplexing how dozens, if not more, people actually are unable to see something that's right under their nose.
flirting with this disaster.
The jazz noir music is a vibe though. Yeah, I prefer listening to such tunes. It's nice. Should you find me company in VR chat or with Vesper in tow, we're not that noisy. Not that quiet either. Just a good balance.
Noisy when we need to be quiet when it's needed.
As soon as I said that, I got the loudest ad. Oh dear. Zach says, one of my top supporters, mind you, says, to be fair, I'm a little dumb sometimes, and that's why it took me like 2 weeks. Hey, you made it. I'm back from my flight, says Baldo. Got another one soon. Also, with 100% drive an Aston Martin DB5. Aston Martin, wow. That's Vesper, my companion, moderator, and everything in between. I've been drawing some today, says Peeps. Good. I appreciate quiet, says Crystal. Too often people around me in my friend groups are always loud. Same, I cannot tolerate. Once there's a group of people that's more than 3, like me, and then 3 other people or 2. No, yeah, 3. And then they're loud, my social battery depletes quite rapidly. And you're gonna find me promptly exiting the world, after a courteous goodbye, of course. Yeah. So again, to those unacquainted, that's Vesper chat. She quite
Hello?
literally has the power to, well, appropriate punishment to those deserving. Bad new chat, in case you can't read between the lines. Shiny Vesper. Shiny. Loud people are sometimes entertaining. Sometimes. But the moment they start playing soundboards, especially the one that grates my teeth the most, the loud metal pipes, block. There's only one person I have not blocked yet that actually uses soundboard. You should be familiar. It's a nice, fantastically deep voice. And he's purple with a scar on one eye that he keeps closed. Flips a coin too, but at a pace that's faster than mine. Says I tend to Irish goodbye more than I like to, mostly because I hate interrupting people. Oh, you mean the French exit? Just skedaddly do. Visual loud people are better than audibly loud. Now, Kelsa, I want you to explain to me what that means exactly. Curious about your definition on that. Put you on the spot, I know. So you got it on the third try, Zero. Crystal says, alright, time for me to get back to cleaning house. I keep my headphones on though. Ah, yes, let me go drown out the sound of your vacuum. Flashy, I'm guessing, says Nord. Let's see.
I'm not very flashy.
Both of us aren't. I mean, you're the flashier one between both of us, though, Vince.
Yeah, true, because I got the little specks of, well,
Actually,
glitter.
no. Maybe we're balanced. I do have details on my arms and my signature
Yeah,
thighs.
true.
So. Now, what's this? Audibly loud people would just be like high decibels. Visually loud would be erratic or chaotic people. Alright, let's delve deeper into that. Erratic or chaotic in what sense? What? They simply jitter around. Pink. Oh, you like the mist going on. Pink comes into mind. Goofy. People who are hyperactive, gremlin like. Goofy is one way, and then Goofy is a culmination of what? Come on, help me narrow this down. Well, they pretend and make sounds of inanimate objects or animals and whatnot. I did that type to go walk up to you and randomly flutter their hands towards your face or grab one of your ears and whatnot. Pose it in a funny way and run away. Like an annoying child. I think that's a case to case basis on chaotic people not being an annoyance. It depends on one's level of patience. I have a rather lengthy bar when it comes to patience, just appropriated towards other things. I never asked, Zizzo. And nobody would care. Zero. I, for one, won't. The change of topic. Do I do any sports? All sports? No. I guess the closest thing you can call a sports is anything involving motorcycling. Closest I think is enduro riding, but that was many years ago. It's when you bring your bike off road and you conquer Mother Nature, aka you drive into crappy situations, mud, river crossings, loose dirt, with friends. I'm terrified of moving motorcycles, says Zoxy. Better stay away from them then, or you can stare at the static ones. Motorcycling would come more into a hobby. As I've said, it's the closest thing. And I bet they look great, right? What time is it? 1:46 a.m. Unusual. Motorcycling becomes an instinctual thing, really. Give me a moment. Let me take a quick peek at my Discord. Seventh White Dragon has a guru like look going. Wow, okay. Looking at the introductions. Really? A cheetah? That's new. Anyway. Sorry. How are you doing, Vesper? I think you did. You woke up not too long ago.
Yeah, true. But other than that, doing okay.
Change the camera angle ever so slightly. There. Does walking count as a sport? Because I walk like 8 kilometers every other day. Nord, thank you so much. With my. Did you know the internet provider that I was at last month? It's before I moved, right? And I got a new provider. Despite me having my contract cut, I filed it on the 28th, right? And I signed everything. They only cut it on the 6th of the next month. And guess what? They're charging me another full month. Or else I'll have like bad credit score, whatever, when it comes to the ISP. It's like, wow, guys, wow. When I called their operator, I said, hey, if I file now to have my contract canceled, are you sure I won't be charged? Yes, of course, sir, no problem. We're gonna immediately disconnect your line and account and it won't overspill to the next month. And it did. It did. The agent lied to me. Now I'm gonna be $50 poor this month. So, thank you for offsetting that, Nord. Hope you're doing swell today. Hello, Cheetah. That pole dances. Zoxy has redeemed a bad life advice. And it goes, what is your best and worst advice to give to someone? If someone was really struggling and if someone they had too big an ego. Are you talking about them that have like the ego?
I don't
It's
like
simple.
the decimals.
No decimals for you. I can only speak on the bad life advice part. I never said it's good in it. But for somebody struggling and if they had an ego, so you're telling me they are self-aware of said ego and now they're struggling, probably looking at the damage they've caused or how cringe they are within whatever friend group. It's simple. You take off all your clothes, you walk out into your garden, you say hello to your garden gnomes, close your eyes and let the 7:29 a.m. sun hit your face. It's a secret mental reset practiced by Brazilian shamans. Trust me, when you come back, your ego will be so deflated, you'll be so down to earth. Your friends will be more than happy to welcome you back, a new, refreshed person. Bad life advice, Jen. Fluffy decided, despite having a sprained wrist, to scrounge for more coins and toss it my way. Thank you so much, Fluffy. Here's to your quicker recovery. I hope your wrist gets better, like 2 hours faster than it would have. Hi there, Nanashi. Thanks, great oppressor. Oppressor. Me. Please. I'm one of the nicest guys around. Vesper's the one who actually does all the dirty work. She's the one who removes those that are unable to guess the password within the span of what? Couple of days, wasn't? Those that
week.
misbehave on chat.
Mhm.
Yes, Vesper's the one who does literally all the removal of people. I only really step in if there's something bad or on the spot that I'm witnessing that is not conducive to the rest of the community. Gab's hand went nuts. Sometimes my indexes like to fly around. I don't know if there's some hidden spot that's still reflecting IR light. Let's see here. Not sure. Your right hand finger. Really? Agent V to the rescue. Yes, Vesper is excellent at what she does. I recently saw something from Poyomi. For those of you that are into Avatar, um, that handle your own avatar in Unity and you set your own shaders. Poyomi recently showcased a shader setting you can enable, which essentially stops you from seeing the inside of another avatar. Can you imagine that, Vesper? So the problem when like you give a smooch to your friends or whatever, like and then like your heads they start to get too close and then you start to see their eyeballs and and other undesirable parts. That has been eliminated and solved.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just something that needs to be checked. Unfortunately, it's still a work in progress. We still have to wait until I don't know, a few days. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It will solve a whole lot of immersion breaking things when you do things. That'll be exciting to enable, that's true. I think it's 9. It's in the Poyomi Discord. You have to check it out, Crystal. I think it's a must-have for all avatars because it the way it works is, well, the way I see how it works is it pushes back the mesh, like depending on your viewpoint. So essentially you're just like super zooming into their skin instead, but you can never really like look through them anymore. I remember having ran into a situation where an acquaintance of mine was using a particular avatar. I don't hang out with them anymore. That had modeled internal organs for whatever purpose it may serve. And I accidentally I was looking at like, oh, there's some good normal maps, and then like I like pushed my face too close. I was like, whoa, I did not know I had X-ray vision. Not a pleasant thing to see. Doran says I'd like to find a way to be able to see my own Avi's muzzle. The Hydra has that feature. Trust me, you're not gonna want it on. It's gonna, because unlike your nose, where it becomes invisible, the muzzle will permanently reduce your vision by 20 to 30%. So what do you see instead of the inside of the avatar? It's sort of you like swapping to a macro lens and then you start to see like the skin of your Avi super up close. You can go to their Twitter and see what I mean. It was posted a day ago, I believe. Interesting thing. I'm gonna make sure you have it too, Wes, once it's released. A toggle. Yeah, of course. That works too. You can always Google how to do it, Doran. Curious. There we go. So that's the name of that track. Sorry, I was out then. Enjoy the stream. I'm gonna go back to bed for now. Sure, Zach. You go rest. See you around 0. That sounds really cool. It's more immersive, that's for sure, Nord. Hello, Dip. Fluffy says, I wonder if it's possible to change the avatar's hand resting position, if you know what I mean. Because my right controller's touch sensor is broken, it always has to open. Yes, yes, it is. It's in the gestures, the animation layer. You have to. It's not that difficult to do. Wait, is this from your brand new Quest Pro, Fluffy? And you're telling me it's not working? Oh dear. Yeah. Fluffy here recently got his toes wet into the world of face tracking.
Got
Oh,
his
face
toes
tracking.
wet? You mean dipped his toes?
Dipped his toe. I mean, look, what happens when you dip your toes, Vesper? So,
They get
right,
wet.
you dip your toes, it gets wet, right? So, I'm not wrong, right? I'm correct. I'm correct.
You're
You're
not
missing-
wrong. I'm just
not wrong.
teasing you.
It sounds so gross that way, right? He got his
It
toes
sounds so
wet.
gross that way.
Yeah.
It sounds so gross that way.
I tried to make it sound cool, okay? Oh my god. So Fluffy recently got his toes wet into the world of face tracking, you know? Being able to see his self do all sorts of expressions and whatnot in real time. Except the Durgara, I don't think has good face tracking. When I say good, my standard on face tracking is something more on the animated, exaggerated side. Some avatars, for example, Vesper's Luna Beast by default, comes with very subdued face tracking. It barely moves. Even more so, the bat we used, what's the name? By Octohead.
yeah.
That had barely any face tracking at all. So yeah. It's fluffy, you know. I got the Quest Pro. Got my toes wet and face tracking. What's this? Fluffy says I need to look more into it in the future. As of now, I am just happy to have face tracking. Lamau. Yes, of course. I still need to see that in game. Maybe we host a little community thingamabob. Oh no. Fluffy, did you perchance want to join us in our little workout this weekend? I mean, home gym owner like you surely wouldn't say no to any fitness related ordeals. Crystal says, beginning of next year, I am going to commission someone to make my face tracking better. My eyebrows do not move hardly at all. Pray tell, which avatar is this, Crystal? Where do you have your hip tracker to sit that way? Me? I have it in the front, and then I have my chest tracker. Chest tracker right here, hip right here. And then like my thigh trackers are on the side. So I can like lean on my knees. I have my arm trackers right here. See? Hmm. I'm visiting parents this weekend, but any other time, sure, I want to do. All right, gotcha. I'll take note of that. I was half tempted to go knock on the door of the drive-thru and see if I could hell dive along with everybody else. But then I decided to stream. Hmm. What's this? Have you ever thought about doing Blender tutorials or face tracking tutorials at all? Please, I am anything but. I mean, this thing you're seeing right now is my own. I got a Hantor's face tracking. Lovely, lovely work. But it wasn't to my specific standards. So I reworked more than half of the shape keys in Blender into what you see right now. I am talking without Viseams enabled. This is all just lip syncing. I mean, like mouth tracking. Now, commissioning someone for the Hydra and the Celeste. How much are we talking? I should have made a template for it. No, but if I sell it, everybody's gonna have it. You see, the face tracking that Vespers Luna Beast has is also handmade by me. I tweaked the base one heavily. And what this one is, yes. I've taken notes from the fantastic Royalty. Royalty for me has probably the best face tracking for furry avatars, especially the Nova Beast, which is what I got my face tracking from before. I've seen that exaggerations actually work really well, and yes, learn from the best. Doesn't want to die with us. Who doesn't want to die with us? Blue says Doran and Fluffy keep bullying me with the impact. Friendly fire squad, got it. One, it's going to be slow. Well, not as slow. I hyperfixate when I work. I'll probably get it done in one day. Or two. I get your comp done in like 2 days. Unlike others, it'll take months. 3, I'm gonna charge a lot though. I'm like gonna be super expensive, so you don't commission me.
Unless you got the money.
As you got the money. The big reason why I am not posting, for example, the clothing fit for the Hydra or the Vulper that I had before, the kit bashes or the face tracking template that I have, is because I already got into trouble for doing not so nice things when I started like editing avatars, like it way back, more than a year ago. Always ethically source your files, chat. Like, just buy it from Gumroad. Don't be like me. I got branded. You thief. You are permanently exiled from the Nova Beast server, and I wholeheartedly accept the punishment. I was broke back then, chat. $45 was a big amount. Towards something I was uncertain would work. Tried to make the Nova Beast work for VTubing. It was turning a VRChat Avi into an FBX and then a .warudo format, and I don't think anybody's done it back then. There were zero refunds. But yeah, that's an old story. Something I don't really hide. I apologized to Kitomatic and Pinky. Said, hey, can I make amends? But apparently that was a non-option and just eternal banishment. Yes, would suffice. Still, my bad. I did say sorry and I still am. As for the Durgara, I am curious. I might take that if you really want to commission me, Fluffy. Because the one time I tried it, that Avi in particular, the face tracking was, politely said, lackluster. Really lackluster. Something nice and refined, where things move smoothly, the subtleness of expressions are captured. I need to think about it. I'll take your S1K. I'll make you the best face tracking in the world. I'm just joking. Gosh. But how do I do this? Notice the requirements in order to do face tracking comms again. You need like proof of payment that your client owns said avatar, like a screenshot of the Gumroad thing, and I gotta. Oh God. Okay, maybe. Let's talk about it in DMs. It sounds like more trouble than it's worth. Because if I remember correctly, I too have to have the Durgara. So, I mean, obviously. How much is it anyway? Probably include it in the price. I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Plus, what's this? Have a splendid stream, you well spoken, sir. I'm off to my 3:43 a.m. rest. I'll see you around, Sub Nation. Welcome to the server. And glad you could join stream. Oh dear, but if I take a commission, that will eat up 2 days of my time. Maybe I could probably finish it in one day. 100% I can finish it in one sitting. I went. Oh, hello. What you already 1 hour and 15 minutes in. Chat, today's stream, we're probably just gonna aim for an hour and 45, and then I'm gonna go skedaddly do off to a palace filled with popcorns. We and that lovely, lovely lady over there have to catch up on some watching. Was it Kaiju number 8 season? Yeah. We're at like
Episode 6.
episode 6. Yeah. Totally from, like legit streaming, I like have there's less details talked about, yes. Kaiju number 8 has been
an
served.
opportunity to go get some lunch.
That's true, because I too am feeling a bit of hunger. I need to eat. What's this? Kaiju number 8 has been so good. It is, right? Like Kafka and fighting that funny mushroom guy. Don't spoil it for me. I still have 2 more episodes to go for. What's this? Oh, it's Mystic. Hi, Mystic. Nice of you to drop by. What's new on your side of town? Ivan, you're probably dealing with scammers. Just ignore them. Yeah, the funny mushroom guy. I just came back from a physical, says Mystical Aurora. I checked out all good, so I'm happy. Doctor's like, taking out the stethoscope. You are fine, just like age-old wine. Or something. Never mind, that was a bad word. Yes. I've not seen much of Kaiju number 8. You should. It's good. It's really nice. I wouldn't call it the best. I still think things that are epic would be Nanatsu no Taizai, The Seven Deadly Sins, or season 1 of One Punch Man. That's for sure. Season 2 was, I don't know what happened, bro. I've recently been watching this anime along with Litz. It was about, was it Nonoka? Like, she was a deer girl, and it was a slice of life anime, and you need to see it, Vesper. It requires Noko-Noko-tan. Yeah, the Noko-Noko-tan. Stop it! You're making me do the introduction dance. Yeah, Noko-Noko-tan. I'm like on episode 2 or 3. I'm like, what? So yeah. Oh please, I'm not much of a dancer, chat. Mystic says, I didn't know you were made in Abyss, Kebu. You sure like to electrocute a lot. I mean, made in a... What? Am I somehow in some layer I'm not familiar with? You're hungry, aren't you? 20 minutes. Let's call it a day. It's an unofficial stream today anyway. The 5th layer, I'll show you what I mean. What's on the 5th layer again? It was the one before the ocean, right? The 6th layer is where Bondrewd is. Oh my goodness, it's a Moogle with Moogle speak. Hi there, Gavar. I need a weapon again in the dungeon, says Crystal. Robbing Beth has been so difficult without one. Are you guys still going at it? Bone Root is in the fifth. Oh, what's it? Sixth was the ocean. Oh god, I don't remember anymore. I'm up to date on the manga though. They're deep. They're way deep in the manga. They are even facing beasts that I know, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm not gonna spoil anything. The only thing I can say is Nanachi still there. I think that's what's important. Govar. Well, that sure looks like an A, not an O to me, so pardon if I didn't get it right the first time. Same way people go, hey, Jebus. That's a G, not a J.
I mean, G can't make the J sound.
Jeb. You make me sound like I'm part of some biblical writing. Ah, Jeb. What wisdom do you have to share with us today? Ask a bunch of travelers in desert robes. What was his thing? The sparagamos. So if it has the sparagamos, I have like the lasagnas. Like the light that makes everything tasty. That's true. And Mystic sent me a DM. Oh, that thing. Okay, Mystic. I don't think my face splits open like a watermelon cut in two places. But I see the color scheme that you're talking about. I'll call you Go from now on. It's easier that way. More convenient for pronunciation's sake. Shoot there can make a good weapon so no one can flank you. You mean I just smack them with the tail whip, yes. One hour and 23, we are encroaching the end of our unofficial stream. With every minute that passes. Kangaroo. Do kangaroos even do tail whips? I know they kick and punch.
Their tail's just there for balance. They don't whip things with their tail.
So, gotcha. Avian. Me, a bird. Please, I am anything but
see any
capable of
feathers.
flight. If you think these are feathers, you're kind of, they're not. Avian. That is new. I can like. Yes, I'm an avian chat.
Ah, yes, Geb's Halloween costume then.
Oh god. Bok bok. Look, if anybody's like a chicken, it's Vesper. Look, she has like the white that the hen has,
Why
right?
am I a chicken? Axiom's the chicken.
That's he's green.
He's a griffin.
He's green.
He's green, but yes, he's a green chicken.
You have like the whole like egg white, like the egg shell white color, right? And the piercing chicken gaze. And anyway, let's change the camera and the topic. You're pretty. There you go.
Boy.
Geb, what are you? As Crystal says, I am a Hydra. More lizard than anything, really. But Geb, you said you were a dragon. I don't have the wings. I just resign myself to the L word instead of a D. I think Nordex scares the title dragon the best because he actually walks on all fours, has that, and he has the humor of a 4,000-year-old. God, I was taking a peep at the roleplay channel. Let's just say I'm gonna be hands off. Yes. Good luck with the adventures, guys.
Yeah, things turned on TOS, you know you could just DM us and we can handle it. But still.
Yes. Chat. Ooh, you need to clean the face tracking sensors of yours, but gentle reminder to the members in the Discord: if you see like any like porn stuff being posted by other members, even if it's just words, you let me know and they're gonna. All right. None of that in my server. Thanks. Insert said word. Okay. Oh, hello. And there fuego. All right. Seeing the word Hydra makes me think of water. You know, Mystic, if I had more fins, I would probably look aquatic, yes. But one of the artists who did a very nice sketch of mine actually called me a plant lizard. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I look at myself. Monstera leaves. I kind of see what they mean now.
So, other than living in the water, drinking water is probably most important to you.
That's true. Yes, I love to hydrate. Me and my juice, which is out of reach at the moment. I need to get it. Oh boy. That quick, huh? One moment, chat. Just like Prushka.
Yeah, get to be entertainment.
Damn, my other power bank. My cartridge just ran out. Damn. Wait, do you know what happens to Prushka, Vesper? Who made in Abyss? Like, cause I have like little cartridges to keep me.
We watched the anime with you.
Oh, so you know, yeah, right. Because I'm
Yes, I
I'm
know.
wireless now. I have little power bank cartridges, like a little rectangle thing, and it runs out every 2 hours. So Oh, that's why you call me Bondrune. I see. Anyway. Yeah, yeah. Later, Prushka. Oh. Hey, Gib. Yes. What is it? Nord. Go ahead. It had to do with like, I legit have little cartridges that I gotta swap out, or the curse of low battery is going to affect me. I am part Mizutsun. Ah, so you're a soapy dragon. Gotcha. This is true. Well, I, for one, am a big fan of the smell of freshly folded laundry and a bathroom with all sorts of fancy shampoos and conditioners. Don't even get me started on the aroma of shea butter. Oh, products. New things for the store. God, dude. I can't put that on the throne. By the way, if you check out the throne, I've added two very important things there. One is one is a actual, should I say, prioritized fundraiser because it's for the betterment of the entire stream. It's the Udex VR gloves. I'm for 30% there. It would be fantastic to have like actual proper hand tracking. But the second one, there's something Bev himself, the Demon King, suggested. And that would be the Goober sandwich spread. It's like the peanut butter and jam thing. It's right there. You can check it out, Vesper. I made sure
Yeah.
it's like the grape.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Oh
I've
my
heard
goodness.
of it before. I just haven't had it because, well, lower middle class. It was
What
just
do you
cheaper to
mean?
buy the peanut butter and the jelly separate.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so that's true. They're kind of expensive for what they are, especially if you love peanut butter as much as I do, because that jar will disappear in maybe a sitting or two if I'm being frugal.
2 sittings. Meanwhile, it lasts my family maybe months. But then again, we're buying like those big jars.
There's big jars. The one I got was just like this. It's $4 each. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I'll have to show you when I go to some lunch later.
Goober. I think it's called Smuckers. What was it? The brand? Yeah, Nord. It's called Smuckers Goober. It's a peanut butter jam mix in a jar, which is so good. Oh, I really need some. Ah, Twitch isn't sending my messages. It must just be the network, Crystal. This dragon is allergic to nuts. Now I know Nordic's orientation, fan. Oh, peanuts! I misread that, sorry. Thank you for letting me know. Damn, Fumble. Look at Vesper quickly. Forget everything I just said. My bad. My bad. Whoops. You see, sometimes my overlay is obscured and I don't see the words properly. God damn it, Fluffy.
Gab.
Look. It was a mistake. It was an error, alright? Technical difficulty induced. So far, I've seen grape and strawberry. I haven't had the strawberry and peanut butter yet. Only the grape. I forgive you. Thank you. You look like a furry version of peanut butter with a vest on. Hmm. Upon closer inspection, I see the lack of browns though. She's closer to a candle, a Halloweeny candle, Jacko pumpkin, and a matchstick with its ember still on. In short, she's quite hot, right? Like matchstick amber. Like look at her arm. Look, it's like mid burn. It looks like a fantastic temperature of a well-fanned piece of charcoal in your grill. You know when you blow on it or you put like you fan it, that's how it is. There you go. It's like-
I bought peanut butter colors, so I don't get what they mean. I'm black, white, and orange.
He probably has eyes made of pickles. That's why, they see you as that. She's a Halloween Reese's. There we go. Not only is she tasty peanut buttery, she's also Halloweeny. Vesper does look nice, doesn't she? Super zoom in. There you go. Now we zoom out again. Okay. British buttery. Oh my. Ah, yes. Freshly scraped and organically sourced. Where is our boy of a farmer blue scales anyway? Let's get a. Here's one for you. Like he puts it directly on your bread without you even able to say no. And he drops like some on your tea because he says it's good. Like British buttered tea. It's a good alternative to sugar or something like that. And obviously, to be polite, he's gonna urge you to drink it and adds the flavor that you never knew was missing. Matthew says, I don't know the context, but Ban who said that. Hi, Matthew. Alright, time to fly back home. See you all soon. Also, Geb has a Discord. Never knew. Yes, Baldo, we actually do. Thank you for last time support, by the way. Baldo, huh? Sounds like a name I can start calling Matthew. Anyway. Good evening, Vesper, says Matthew Sunbreaker. I love the new name. Instead of you seeking it out, you have come to conquer it. Very befitting of your lovely physique. What's good, Matthew? Asks Mystic to the owl. Oh my god, it's this BGM again. See, whenever this BGM like pops in, the topic always turns into the likes of British butter and other inventory, slot chicken, right? Dried herbs and from Vespers are gonna eat lunch, okay? Gotcha. What's this? Yesterday I got the piece of art I asked to be commissioned. Are you telling me that was just a work in progress? It already looked lovely as it was, Matthew. Really cool. I wonder if I can adjust the lighting. Bam. Darkness. Bam. It blue. Nope. That's 6%. There we go. It's my befitting of the team. What's this? It's brighter than I remember. There. My friend changed my name after I lost a bet. You have a good friend. Keep him. It was a rough draw, replies Matthew to my inquiry about the commission. Now I got the finished one. Oh, show me in the DM, Matthew. I'm curious as to how it turned out. Take it with me. Out tab to Discord real quick. We do the. Oh. Oh my goodness, look at that introductions. We have Kelsa. We have Zero. Look at these two. Also conveniently 18 in age. Totally not, not 18 or anything. You got it. No worries. Where's that thumbs up of mine? Oh my goodness, it's Beth. Well, an hour late into reading. Those sandwich wants a private channel, I see. Let me. I don't know. Oh. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. What did I miss? Why give? Why what, Dorian? What have I done? Oh my goodness. Where did those sandwiches go, I wonder? Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? No, I don't. I have no idea. I'm just streaming. British internet moment, see? That's what was happening, Doran. British internet. Huh? Yes, I was simply mentioning about your disagreeable internet situation. Are you using full body tracking? Yes, I am. How else would I be able to do the chicken wings if I did not have arm tracking? Vesper over here has full body tracking as well. Oh, I can actually lean.
Just minus the arms.
Yep. Bit of an odd angle, but maybe. Neither Equinox. Where's Fluffy? I have no idea. Blue, throw some tea on the router. I need to have Matthew as my stand in when I don't know how to reply to my bad life advices? Mm-mm. How does a Brit solve internet problems? Matthew says throw some tea on the router. The most excellent suggestion.
Maybe it's an
Read.
intercaffeinated router.
It's a. That's true. That's possibly what it is, isn't it? The expert of bad life suggestions, yes. Regen the Owl, conveniently colored green too. I love health regen mechanics in any game. Always my build, personally. Says, good afternoon, I hope you're doing well today. I hope you are doing well today as well. Seems like we have 2 owls in chat now. I'm sure that would work. You'll never know till you try. Blue Scale says, what should I do about my toast sandwich problem? It's getting bad. Getting bad in a sense that you're addicted to it? It's simple. You distract yourself with other things, yet still satisfy your primal urges, desires towards that particular composition of yours, the toast sandwich. And what I mean is, what you do, you get a pineapple, you slice it, you remove the top with the leaves and everything, and then you slice 2 of them. Pineapple, and then the top of the pineapple is the middle. It's called the pineapple with pineapple on it. And surely you still manage to go do your 3 stack of the same things despite you saying it's different. But it's something completely different. Hence, pulling your attention away from making toast sandwich. Bad life advice, Jen. The toast on a bagel was an attempt, but still far too close to home. Toast on a... One thing I can suggest that I have learned in the jungles of Vietnam is you get some white bread, banana ketchup on said white bread, fold it in half and eat it. Surely a palate cleanser. Blue. I appear extraordinarily bright, don't I? Dark. No, not fitting. There we go. What the heck is banana ketchup? It's a legit thing, very popular here in Southeast Asia, the Philippines in particular. Instead of it being a sour, sweet concoction, banana ketchup is more sweet concoction. I would say it goes better than tomato ketchup when you mix it with some sunny side egg. Especially when you have the yolk all runny. You just mix the banana ketchup in with it and you pour it over some nice steaming hot rice. Get your favorite sauces of choice. Maybe just a simple hot dog with cheese on it. Perfect accompaniment. Breakfast even. We are at 1 hour and 48. Yeah, are we going over time today? You know what? Vesper has a point. I did say short stream. Sounds bad. Gov, thank you. I'm a bit lagging with the messages, but I appreciate it. We tried butter, cinnamon, and sugar on toast though. That sounds delicious, yes. Without lights and with lights on. Your definition of a short stream is 3 to 5. Promise, we're not. I'm going to stick with the designated schedule of 2 hours, and then we're going to conclude. Look at Vesper. Look at that totally not disappointed face of disapproval. Ah, your orange, probably your favorite color. Mystic loves orange too. Mm. Whenever Mystic sees an orange toupee, surely it brings the widest of smiles to her face. Thanks. You mean my breath? Yes. To those with eagle eyes, you may notice I've improved the complexion and the teeth. It's just a better morning routine.
Gab bought moisturizer that actually works.
Yes, totally not buying from that Pakistani cosmetic shop anymore. When it comes to cosmetics, always trust the Koreans, chat. They're never wrong. Imitate the voice again, and I'm turning you into toothpaste. I know. It's- Imitate the voice. I was just speaking naturally as I would. Yeah, man, say it with me. Let's make mornings great again. Brush your teeth 3 times a day, wash your face, moisturize after. Look at Vesper. Like, she's so happy and like, everything. Morning routines. Great success. It says, Gab surely likes toothpaste of the mint flavor. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Charcoal and mint. What a fantastic combo for nice pearly whites. What's this? Let's read our last 5 messages. Streams give him life. I'm an eagle, but I have owl eyes. Geb on that CeraVe. Skipping a bunch. Love my vanilla toothpaste. Vanilla toothpaste? That actually sounds really good, Nord. Vanilla toothpaste, eh? See, you had to ruin it. I was all for you with the vanilla toothpaste. Then you had to bring up like liquor. I can't stomach the mint stuff. You know what? Fair. I love minty toothpaste. But when you mix it with like the airport souvenir chocolates, and there's coconut shavings on it. It's not. It's. No. Yeah. Yikes. Vanilla is my favorite though for sure. I used to have this vanilla perfume and it was actually really good, and I'm gonna end stream in 5 minutes, by the way. So I don't overshoot. Yes. Airport souvenir chocolate and coconuts. It's the worst. It's like, so you have like the dried ass coconut, right? It's like shh, and you mix it on perfectly okay-ish chocolate. Ah, you eat it. And then the little bits of coconut just doesn't melt along with the chocolate. Also, hello, Kudalin. Dropping by again on a little bit on the tail end of stream. Hi there. Kudalin, I have a question. I recently saw your tweet. I even commented on it. I think it was in a Monster Hunter looking hub world. The villagers were even there. Was that VR chat? I'm sorry, I need to fix it. It's okay, don't worry about it. Anyway, I was just curious what world that was. It's seeing worlds with NPCs is not that common according to my findings. I would be wholly appreciative if you could DM it to me. Just so I could visit. It's a bit of a nostalgia thing. Also, I was wondering, was that your main avatar? The cute noodly dragon that you have? The one I saw on Ferality Umbra? Pardon me suddenly remembering these details is a bit unusual, I know. What's this? Peanut butter perfume. Well, sniff it. I can't guarantee I'll use it. That's one of my main models, yes. Gotcha. Three minutes. And I gotta, like, I'm gonna stand up and stretch, chat. Okay. Ooh. There's a bunch of vertebrae making a crack.
Ooh.
Ooh. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Gab with the Rice Krispie experience.
The Rice Krispie experience.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Yep. So yeah, I was doing a little bit of a stretch chance. There we go. You can't hear it, chat, but it's like, ooh, nice and crunchiness. How long is your tail? It's that long.
It's basically just long enough to drag onto the floor.
Yes. What's this? I have two personas, replies Kudalin. One is the noodle, the other's a hybrid I've had for years. Oh, years. I'm flabbergasted by the amount of people that's been playing this game for such a long time. I myself have around a year and a half under my belt. Nothing impressive, really. But what makes me happy is there's just so much things to discover. A lot of, well, if you sift through them enough, good people to meet. Love the design of your model, says Danny. It says, keep up the good work, Lizardman. Thank you, the donkey man. Longer than mine. Yes. Wing Red, thank you so much for the sub, my goodness. What a surprise, and welcome to the stream. I'm glad I am support worthy. Kudalin says, I've been playing since 2019, I think, and I started selling models around 2020 after some personal practice. 2020? That's
5 years
a while.
experience.
Yeah, gosh. I wish you all the success and I hope your business is going great, cool. We are at 2 hours again. I know, that's why I stood up so we could enter phase 2 of the stream. Phase 1 is finished. So. Oh god, Vesper gave the saddest face. she really wants to go to the palace of popcorns. Okay,
No,
last
I
5
want to
minutes.
eat.
Oh, you wanna eat? I mean, you can, and then we meet up. But yes, chat. Say goodbye to Vesper in advance. The little moderator dragon of mine is super hungry.
Bye, chat. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll catch you later.
Goodbye, Vespi. Bye bye, Vesper. Says chat. See ya, cinnamon bun. Oh, I'm still here. I'm totally not stalling or anything. Just reading messages. Doing my best and enjoying it, and that's what matters. Bye, Reese's. Reese's has left the chat. I am so gonna tell Vesper. Erp. Gonna get the plushie again. The axolotls. Phase 1 stall. Phase 2 stall some up, please. I'm simply. It's like a juice dispenser, right? We're trying to get the rest out. She was fun and adorable. She absolutely is. That's one way of putting it. A juice box, right? When it's technically empty already, but you're still sucking on that straw. And there's still a bit more. Vesper says, pretty hard not to get hungry when somebody's cooking something in the kitchen. I don't know if it's something for Marin's birthday. Marin is Vesper's sibling, but I'm hungry because of it. Understandable. Especially when you go saute things. So you have your wok, right? You have your wok, and then somebody just decides to throw in some garlic, some onions, and then some butter. And then you hear and smell the thing. Like, yes, absolutely aromatic. You are to a neon-colored exotic species who is handsome. Be handsome, please. I'm quite modest, really. You want handsome? Look at my companions. Matthew is one such example. He can't help himself whenever I bring out the camera. I say, Geb, look. And it's going to pause. And then I look at my reel, and it said, Geb, take a picture again. And he's in the same spot he's posing, except he doesn't have his shirt on. He's gonna flex his fighter's body. My goodness. Gonna keep doing my stuff. See you later, boss, and goodbye, chat. See you around, Matthew. Thanks for dropping by. I'm actually about to end too. I wonder who's online over at my friends list. Let us peruse. Social. A surprising lack of company. Do I just drop off VR chat and play? I wonder. Expose you, please, Matthew. I was merely complimenting you. What? What's this? Something fell. Oh. Yeah, there we go. 5 bongs for every minute, Gebopa. I'm about to end. Yes. percent is this thing going? %83%. Fantastic. Okay. Oh. Hydra G, Hydra D. It's with a G, but close enough. Okay. Fine. Let's skip phase 2. We're gonna go to phase 3, which is me opening my browser, looking at who's streaming. Mute. Oh dear. Let's look at the VR chat category. Oh my goodness, who is that on the top one spot? That's some incredible shaders. It goes number 2 as well. Where am I? Probably at the bottom. Oh my. Nah. Anyway. Sorry. Where's my camera? Mystic is threatening about. Fine. I'll go. Chat, thanks for joining me in my impromptu stream today. I may or may not stream again tomorrow, which is my usual stream time. Friday, 11 p.m. plus 8 GMT. That's it. There's nothing to say. Oh, hi there, Late Nova. Late. How apt. They will actually be on time. He got 30. So what do you mean 30? Huh? Too bad Mystic isn't in VR chat. Can't catch me, can't bump. That was so funny. So funny. You should totally write down the pronunciation. I'm tempted to hop in VR chat. I mean, you can, Krista. What's stopping you? With claws. I mean, there's Late Nova, or I can call it Late Nova. Late. Bye, Matthew and Mystic. I'll see you around, Ivan. Thanks for dropping by. There you have it, Crystal. You have company. Nordex is about to hop on. Why are you so close to the camera? So I can be up and personal when delivering my messages to you. Crystal deliberates, going into VR chat, going, maybe. Not sure what I would do in VR chat. It's just, Crystal's just waiting for a friend to invite her to do something. So indirect. Yes, Gav. I saw your beans. How do I react to that? Bad life advice. Simple, really. Most people consider it a rarity, right? So what you do is you take a picture and then you put it, you print it, you cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and then you shape some aluminum so you have a mold for cookies in the shape of beans. Bad life advice, chat. Because you're gonna get cut. Crystal says either I'm going to chill in VR chat and watch movies or find some sort of game to keep my mind engaged. Ah. I mean, didn't you say you wanted to go Helldivers? I'm sure there's a lot that is more than willing to spread managed democracy alongside you. Hi, Iron Wolf. Do those dragons and worms scare me? With the power of teamwork and as little friendly fire as possible, I'm sure these fearsome adversaries shall be no challenge. I haven't played since the first few months the game came out. I mean, now's the time to reinstall it. Mystic says, I'll play around in the cafe since it had an update before playing Origins Anarchy. Alright. Is Cafe Alba still the same layout as before? Going okay. Oh, technically the stream's over, Jen. Go shoot skedaddle, please. Unofficial stream. I was never here. Ugh. We're back in the cafe since it's autumn now. Okay. Sure. Okay, chat, legitimately, I gotta go. I will probably be in VR chat for a while. Popcorn Palace. Let's see what entertainment we have. I'll see you again. If not tomorrow, I'll see you again on Monday. I might just take this opportunity to actually catch up on things. I could have sworn Fluffy was interested in commissioning me for some face tracking. I also have to look into how I could manage to work on the Hydras because I have face tracking, but it's for the high poly Hydra, which is what I have. It will not work with the not kit bashed version, the vanilla one. Hmm. I mean, it's easy enough to do one setting. All right, clear. I'll catch you all around, says Mystic. See you around, Mystic. Have fun. Thanks for dropping by. Always lovely to have you. If I can throw money at you, Gab, let me know. I can't guarantee anything yet, Crystal, but let's see. I might work on Fluffies first, and let's see where we go from there. Also, I don't want to take away your money. You're still a student. You focus on your school stuff. Thanks for the stream. See you around, Grandpa. The Waffle Carp, Archipelago, and who else? I get paid to go to college. Really? Wow, okay. Hmm. Let's see. All right, all right. See, stream's over. Shoo, skedaddly do. You 50 plus viewers. See this thing on the left side of your screen. These are streamers that you followed. Click one of them. I'm sure they're gonna appreciate you dropping by. Tell them Gebo said hello. They're probably gonna wonder who that guy is. Tell him he's the neighborhood painter. He sells ice cream on Tuesdays. Shame on you on mobile. That's true. A different format. Ever so small for Late Nova. And the chat is somewhere here in the bottom, ain't it? Hmm. It's simple. Swipe up. Swipe up. Close my stream. And you're good. I'm a painter. I sell hot dogs. I hard boil eggs to sell during midnights on Fridays. And during Saturdays, I help the kids, the local Girl Scouts, bake their cookies for sale. Not to mention the lemonade squeezing I have to do every second 15th of the month. The Sunday of the month. And it wasn't the 15th. Please, it's a lot of stuff. Anyway. With that being said, there's no Vesper though. Why am I rushing? Oh, because I'm gonna eat too. Do I just like exit and what a shame that I used the 3-button format. God, just click the power button on the side of your phone and your screen will go dark. It says that and the view coin goes, oh my god, two new people decided to drop by. Oh dear. Eat before your body bonks itself. Ha! I actually came from a hot pot earlier. And yes, it was delicious. I had octopus, I had some nice, very thinly sliced pork that I dipped into some satay and hot bone broth soup. A little bit of cheesy salmon sushi. It's like a buffet with a hot pot and beef and pork skewers with some Chinese herbs on it. Come on, Gurgle, like go shoot. Don't you have like marbles to gargle or something? Yeah, it's called Dynasty, a Chinese buffet. It's strange. It has the grill for all the skewers. Next to it is like the hot pot. And in the premises, it's a small buffet with all the ice cream and desserts that you can have and the multitude of drinks, along with the pre-prepared meals you can just put on your plate. It's delicious. If you come visit my country, I'll take you out on a date there. Like a food date. All this talk of food is making me hungry. I had this most lovely Japanese yellow rice with, I'm not sure what they mixed. It was some omelette or something, and a bunch of veggies. But the umami, salty, sweet taste of it was really great. Pairs perfectly well with the ever so tender pork that we had to make our own sauce. So it was scallions, sesame oil, and then sesame sauce with some hoisin and an oyster, mix it together, teaspoon of sugar, and then you dip it there, put it on the rice I just mentioned. Chopsticks. Tasty. Oh god. Right? You can just smell the aroma. The steam of that bony broth soup that you just dunk the meat for like a few seconds so it's not overcooked and tough. It's still tender. That's the secret. Then, mmm. Oh, God. Just no mac and cheese there normally. Hold on, let me check the menu real quick. Should be here. There you go. You go eat. I still have some rice that I cooked the other day. Unfortunately, I'm out of stock. I'll have to buy some tomorrow. Disc. Whoa. Alright, alright, alright. Like legit, like stream's over. Like, I'm gone. Shoot. Skedaddling you. Oh yeah. Let me tell one story before I go. So I recently discovered this thing called jelly pops, right? Um, it's apparently like little power banks for the Vive trackers, bringing them up to like 14 hours of usage instead of the crappy 6.5 ones. Mhm. No ideas here. Oh my guten taginess. Hi there, Litz. You see anybody laughing to your jokes here? Not the time and not the place either. Maybe some other stream. But Litz, being 3 months subscribing now. Thank you so much. Also, say thank you to your friend Anone. It's doing okay. It's a bit of an impromptu stream. I do miss our dear Beth though. Always trying to mess around with the other members. But he has earned his well deserved vacation. How about you? How are you, Liz? I just heard my cat walk around. I think it's time for me to go grab some food. Did he do? I love how I'm on an unscheduled stream, but I always miss the scheduled ones. Because I try to start my scheduled streams on time. Unlike now, it's oh god, I reached the 2 hour and a half mark. No, it actually depends on the world. There is some heavy post processing here. Let me just. I'm gonna see if I can like walk there. Actually, let's see. No, there is no post processing. Never mind. I thought there was. Whoa. I'm doing alright, says Liz. I did some shopping for the kitchen and also got a new keyboard because my old one died. I could have sworn you were just cleaning it last week. What happened? Litz things happened. Probably. No, anyway, I'm stalling again, and the viewer count is just going up. Okay. Yeah. Bye. Bye. The juice incident. I'm totally not looking at Firefox right now and sifting through the VR chat channels. Get some. Oh, is Vesper back? Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, chatty chat. I will catch you again tomorrow/Monday if I am not able to. Oh, I could take a strip. Yeah, but probably catch you tomorrow. I'll also try my best to be on time, unlike the midnight stream that I have right now. And shoot. Yes, I'm gonna shoot soon enough. No need to be if you have food. Even I would pause my stream to eat some delicious food. I have some nice black pepper pork on my freezer. Stay around, Fluffy. Catch you around. Bye, chat. See ya. Thanks for joining stream. Get out of here and get some grub. All right. Clicking the button. Beep. This is a pre-recorded segment. The stream has actually ended already. And you are clearly wasting your time, so persisting in this particular tab. Close your tab. The streamer is gone. What else do you have to see and watch here? The button seems to be broken. Is what I would say if a chatter would type that out, because this is totally pre-recorded. My mouse definitely legitimately broke because I can't leave some anonymous chatter that probably will never type that in actual chat. Very interactive pre-recording is probably what they're gonna say. You know, that's the secret. You make the pre-recording as immersive as we can. Like we toss in something random like, thank you so much for the sub. Like, I appreciate it. And Adam. See, pre-recorded, 100 million%. Toast sandwich, just at random. Yes, that is also a pre-recorded Vesper, 100%. Come on, let's say something pre-recorded quick. Whoa, what? Dragon D's what? My goodness! Such vulgarity by not completing that sentence. How could you leave our chat hanging in this pre-recorded segment? This kitty, this.
Dragon D's nuts.
Because this is a pre-recorded segment, this is totally not going TOS because this is machine generated. Million%. And yes, this recording is actually being AI generated, so it actually can interact. Is what I would be saying if somebody's typing it in chat clearly. Yes. And so this pre-recorded post-stream has actually ended. Farewell, and is actually going to close. A black screen is going to ensue, and then there we go. Stream has ended. Pre-recording finished. Why are there still chatters? The stream has ended. There seems to be a glitch in this stream. My other pre-recorded segment is being played. Anyway, I'm seriously going to end stream. Bye, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, chat. Don't forget to brush your teeth.